It's hard to find a business sector that AI is not impacting. And some sectors are particularly hot investment areas for venture capital and for corporate venture capital. In this video, we'll identify some 70 venture investments that for the first time over the past 12 months have reached a valuation of $1.5 billion with a 2x step up in valuation from their previous round. And we'll see what ventures are in these particularly hot sectors. I'm George Geis, and this is AI Venture Watch. All right, well, we're going to bring up the ventures which fit this particular profile, that is, have reached $1.5 billion in valuation, post-money valuation for the first time over the past 12 months with a 2x step up in valuation. So let's bring them out, and you can see there's 74 companies here, and they're in a variety of sectors, as we'll see. Now, some of these sectors will be particularly interesting to us. We'll, for example, focus on this gray or silver sector, robotics, in just a minute. But let's now back off and take a look at these companies and see what sectors they're in. So I'll select expand and belongs to. Now what comes back is an intriguing graphic which shows companies and sectors that they belong to. Now some of these sectors are colored in red. For example, here's drug discovery and development, a sector which has been getting a lot of attention. Now, what does that mean? It means that there are at least 3 ventures over the last 12 months pass our filter. Remember, our filter is companies or ventures that have achieved at least $500 million in valuation with a 2x step up. So here's drug discovery and development. Here's customer service and relations. Here's software development tools. Development in ML ops platforms, film and video production. You see there's a pretty wide range of sectors which we're looking at. Cybersecurity, that's not surprising. We go on and on. Here's AI for military and security. Again, not a very surprising sector that's considered to be hot. But there's one sector in particular that I want to find, and that's right down here. It is robotics. Now, this robotics sector is something we'll want to take a deeper look at. Let's see what a description is all about. The robotics industry is undergoing really dramatic transformation, as many of you know. It's being fundamentally reshaped by physical, also known as embodied artificial intelligence. And machines are interpreting complex data, learning about their environments, and these AI-powered robots are becoming commonplace in many sectors, including healthcare and retail. But let's look at a company in particular that we would like to focus on. That's called Skilled. Skilled AI was established in Pittsburgh in 2023, and it is building foundation models that have to do with powering a diverse array of robotic devices. Its flagship offering is known as Skilled Brain. And its approach is interesting. It's horizontal as far as its application reach. In essence, it wants to become the quote-unquote operating system or Microsoft of robotics. It wants to take the foundation models that it's developed and apply them to a horizontal range, a very broad range of robotic type applications. That makes it very interesting. And frankly, that makes it in contrast with a number of other robotics companies, such as what Tesla is doing or what a company called Figure AI is doing, where these are more specific vertical applications building robots for more specific purposes. But Skilled AI is, again, trying to become the operating system. And which model survives, whether it will be a Android, Microsoft operating system environment that will have many, many application areas, or whether it will be a more Apple-focused vertical application ecosystem. There's a lot of debate going on right now about this as to which model will indeed become the dominant one. And some analysts pick one or the other. I'm not. I'm not sure that both can't survive, as we've seen currently with an Android or iPhone operating systems right now with respect to phones. But we'll have to see, and we'll watch carefully as how this is going to play out. But what I want to show you is something else about skilled AI, which is common to many of these investments, and that is the extent to which corporate venture capital is playing in these markets. Now, at UCLA, we're running a case competition on a regular basis, which deals with major technology companies and their corporate venture capital arms. Companies like Alphabet or Amazon or Microsoft or NVIDIA or Salesforce. Teams are assigned to one of these companies and have to come up with a recommendation as to what investment and in what sector their assigned company should make. It's a competition. We have fun doing it. We run it at least twice a year. But let's look at Skilled. With this in mind, let's look at Skilled. So I select Skilled and I expand its investors. And what comes back, curiously, these are not all its investors, but just to illustrate the point, some corporate venture capital investors, both NVIDIA and Amazon are invested in Skilled. Well, if you take a look at NVIDIA's investment, for example, you'll see that, and this is PitchBook data. PitchBook is a relatively reliable source of information. Obviously, one has to, look carefully at what is stated, but they state as of April 30th, 2025, NVIDIA has Skilled AI is post-money valuation. Its post is $4.7 billion with a step up of 2.8 from its previous venture round. So it clearly fits our filter of 2x north of $1.5 billion in valuation. And according to PitchBook, it raised $500 million of a Series B venture led by SoftBank. And here, Amazon and NVIDIA, you see, are participating in this round, as well as many other prominent venture capital companies. So the point we're making is the extent to which venture capital, corporate venture capital, technology corporate venture capital are involved in this venture investing and funding AI activity across a very broad range of sectors. Something else, by the way, about Skilled before we leave it. If you look at its management, just to go down a little deeper in this company, you can see that, let's just look at, for example, Deepak Pathak. He is the CEO and one of the founders of Skilled AI. Deepak is a deep background in robotics as a researcher. He was at UC Berkeley, did his PhD there, top scientist at Facebook AI. But he's also a professor at Carnegie Mellon. Now, Carnegie Mellon, CMU, is you may know, is a hotbed for robotics development, and he's part of CMU's Robotics Institute. So what I'm suggesting here is that by visualizing this, we can then only see corporate venture capital investment, we can see management, we can see sectors that companies belong to. So it's an interesting approach in visualizing what's happening in this dynamic market space. One final thing that I want to show you is the extent to which companies such as NVIDIA are active in this space. Let me expand some of its investments. By the way, there's only some of them. If I look at some of the investments that NVIDIA is invested in, you'll see what comes back is, here it is, right here, a really very interesting spaghetti-like dynamic of the extent to which NVIDIA has invested in companies in so many different sectors and so many different spaces. All right, so we've looked at hot sectors currently getting venture capital investments, But are the valuations justified? Here is an article recently from The Economist, June 25th, 2025. It's entitled, AI Valuations Are Verging on the Unhinged. And it says, this is the first paragraph, vibe coding, or the ability to spin up a piece of software using Gen AI rather than old school programming skill, is all the rage in Silicon Valley. But it has a step sibling. Call it vibe valuing. This is the ability of venture capitalists to conjure up vast valuations for AI startups with scant regard for old school spreadsheet measures like, free cash flow and multiples of EBITDA and whatever else we want to talk about as far as old school spreadsheet valuation metrics. So we've looked at hot sectors, and we're now questioning whether valuations are really justified at this particular moment in time. And an important question, we'll continue to look at this. But valuations questions aside, in upcoming videos, we'll continue to track what AI sectors are hot, and we'll highlight specific distinctive AI ventures to explore.